take our exam gloves, like we did, we start always taking the dressing off.
I feel so they don't even change their gloves. No, they don't. Between cleaning and taking it off and putting on a new one, they don't.
I know. Well, on a surgical floor you would. Now be careful when you don't want to rip skin off. So you don't want to do that. You want to just slowly pull off. And do you remember the dressing that you and I think I did? And when I pulled the tape, it started bleeding?
Yes.
Okay, and it really was bleeding a bit. And I was looking around for something to stop the bleeding. And then I stopped pulling. And it was paper tape, I believe. And paper tape, usually you don't have that problem with. So what I had to do is I had to take, I think I took either an alcohol swab or I took a wet, I think it was a wet gauze, and started wetting up and taking it off. You just don't want to cause more injury with tape. And tape can be really, really rough.
There's something that Marlene gave us.
Yeah, she puts like a little. It looks like alcohol.
It's called skin prep.
Yeah,
Right.
She
She
really
puts
showed
that on the
too.
tape before
Before
you pulling it off.
Right. And that
I went with
helps.
Marlene once to change this
Right.
lady that had these big things on her legs, and she does that first, and then
Right.
she took off the tape.
That helps to take off tape. But I can never find anything at Health South. So if you guys look at that product again, we should take a bit of it and get some, and put it in our pocket in the morning. Okay, so we want to look under
it's
here.
It's in the little cart where all the dressing.
That's the
are.
wound dressing cart.
Yeah, it's in the
Okay.
wound dressing cart.
We want to take a look in here and make sure there's no drains. Do you remember that drain when we went over the wound chapter? It was a little brown drain that stuck out and it had a safety pin in it, and it kept it from going down into the body. So you want to take a look like this, and you're going to pull the dressing off, and I can't get everything out. I'm going to have to come back and get the rest of that with the forceps that are in the tray here. So I'm going to peel this off.
So you take the gloves off.
You take the gloves off. We're going to put sterile gloves on to finish the dressing. We have saline for, this is saline, amazingly, it's October 2014, and it's not expired. The lab is. So we're going to put it here because I want, when I get ready to pour into the tray, I want to pour with the label side up. So I'm going to put it that way and then do that. Now, you cannot glove up and put your hands down. You can't turn your back on your field. You can't sneeze on your field.
It's about waist level.
Right, and you cannot cross over your field. So the first lip of this goes this way. Then you want to find this lip and come this way. And it's going to try to get it back into its original packaging. And anything that falls over the table is no good. So I'm gonna make it nice and square. And you can touch an inch on the border, but anything, like I said, anything that falls lower is no good. Now we're gonna take this glove, which is extremely difficult to get on, and I'm just gonna set it aside. Then don't touch the tray like this, and don't pull it like this, you'll tear it. And I'm going to use this sort of like a chucks with the shiny side down. I'm going to place it here in case when I start anything that splatters, it'll go right onto that. And I want to get my red bag because I'm going to use it later. You can either put it there now.
And you're doing this all on gloves?
Huh?
You're doing this without gloves?
This, I'm doing it exactly how I want you to do it.
Okay.
And I have no gloves on. I'm going to put gloves on next. But you can retrieve the first items. None of the stuff that's going in there, you cannot take it out.
Oh, okay.
It's just the first 3 items. First 3 items was the gloves, because in real life you would be putting those on. Then I take off that, but I don't put it under her sterilely. And then this doesn't have to be sterile either, so I can retrieve those out of the tray. Okay, and now I'm coming over here, and I'm going to don gloves again. And you don't want to do this. This is a common student error, is to move the hand all the way over. You want to simply open the trap door. You can only touch right here on this part of the glove. So you're going to pick it up, and you don't want to touch the paper here. You're going to pick it up and out, and you can touch anywhere on there. Okay, get a good grip on it. Hand is thumb side out, like you're hitchhiking. You go inside like this. slide it on. And do it. You can do the dominant hand if you want, or the undominant hand first glove, or it doesn't really matter if you're fairly dexterous. Now I want to take this off the tray and pour that on it. But to do that I need this. And I thought, oh, I didn't loosen it. Okay, so just put it under your armpit, loosen it, cap goes up, grab this, step back. Now if this was already opened, you would have to do something called lipping it. And lipping it means if it had been used before, it's good for 24 hours. You just lip, that gets any bacteria that's around the lip by pouring it into the garbage. And now that I've done that,
Now, could you have loosened it before you put the gloves
Sure.
on? Okay. So as long as you don't take the lid off, it's still okay. But if you can loosen it, just
right, you don't want it to stay open like that. And so now I'm going to, once the pour is complete, you put this on. Now remember, you can touch anywhere here, and you want to make sure you don't slip off this way. You're going to put 4 fingers in, like that. And now I've got, this thumb has to be out. If you put your thumb down like this and you hit your palm with it, it's going to contaminate it. And then, they have sterile gloves at Health South.
I have never seen them.
Do they really?
I think they do. I think they do in the med room.
I have never seen
They
them.
do have gloves in the bedroom. I know that.
You would think Julie would have used it that time that we did the med
Full
bath.
force.
She's the one that are allowed to do.
You're gonna say it.
I'm going to put 3 gauzes into the water, and then I'm going to wring it out. You don't want it too wet to go into the wound because it'll drain and get the patient all wet all the time. You don't want it to be saturated. Whoever packed that did a really good job. Okay, so now I'm just going to hold on to these. You cannot set this back into the tray, onto the tray, so you have to hold on to them because they've been in his wound. And now I'm going to open up my little gauze sponge. If I drop this, you can't use it, obviously. You take the forceps to the bottom of this.
Does that hurt the patient?
If you're poking it hard, it will. You want it up against all the tissues. They're still singing out there. Yeah.
It's for the rest of the
It's
day.
a
It's a DJ.
It's a party.
What are you doing, Mikey?
You just.
How's your dad doing since he had his kidney transplant?
He's doing awesome.
Really?
Yeah,
And he's urinating and...
like an animal.
And he wasn't urinating at all before?
Yeah, he was,
But not clearing all the waste products out of his
yeah.
tissues. So what does the doctor say about the kidney that he has?
He's doing good.
And he's on, talk about one answer responses.
No.
He's a hard nut to crack. Here,
No.
let me give him another open-ended question here.
He's on a lot of medications still.
It's expensive, isn't it? The Imuran and all the stuff that for
He's on Prograf and
Prograf to keep him from rejecting.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put this here, and then I'm going to go back to Subway with the salami. Would you like provolone or cheddar?
that every time I do that.
The salami, that's what she thinks about.
Let's not go there.
This is what makes it memorable.
Okay, now we're going to put the blue line, has to be on the outside. So notice how I folded it like this and opened it and put it onto the mannequin. Now, as long as it's covered, you can do the rest of this with out gloves.
Can't cut to it goes on.
And I'm going to use,
Yeah.
I'm going to use 2-inch tape.
Yeah, that was me and her. She was somebody else in there. that really long hip replacement one
that we did. There was like
That was
two
the- yeah, like
abdominal
two of
pads.
That's the one that was bleeding,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, we were all in there.
But right around it started bleeding right around the.
She had tape. Yeah, it was somewhere down here.
We have patients that come from surgery and the tape just totally broke down their skin. We had to put Silverdene on it and it causes, she's like, this tape caused more problems. Like the surgical wound is fine. And the tape
Yeah, there was
was,
tape. That cloth tape.
Supposed to be more.
It's sort of like this too, but
The
she was
waterproof.
telling you that it was good tape for not causing problems?
Yeah, it was the waterproof, non-irrit, because she didn't like the other tape she had
Here's
on.
a pencil.
It was
Oh,
irritating.
it will
her
write on
skin
this
really
tape.
bad.
Thank you. Optiflow.
That's a fancy pen.
It's
Not fancy.
optiflowing. Okay, it's 2 p.m. You don't have to be exact with the time. I mean, just a few minutes off, doesn't matter. The next shift is going to be telling them. And this abdominal wound, you want to use 2-inch tape because it, as soon as they sit, they buckle at the waist and it comes, it can come apart. So that's why you want to use a durable, strong tape. Now, all of this would go, this and if you use the scissors would go into the sharps container. But for you guys, because you're going to be using your kit over again, you got to learn how to pack it. So, don't do that in the hospital, please. Then you're going to wipe out your tray. And then Selvin is going to have a big cart with all the supplies that you need to replace it. This is for like a leg dressing. We didn't need that. So if you have things that haven't been used that are in here, you can leave them in the patient's room. Sometimes in those little squares, they put extra stuff in there. I've seen them in Yadira's room.
They leave it in the room.
Yeah, leave it in the room in case you need it. And so you gotta repack these before you go home so that you can practice doing this at home. So you're
Now,
gonna
who
need,
will eat it?
so you didn't use those gloves, you don't need.
I didn't use those gloves because you're gonna find that they're really, really hard
See how she
to
likes
use.
watching me?
So Selvin is going to have these 4x4s here for you to